keep going. Just don't stop till Radahn drops. I'm gonna kill him dead. Now, you're doing a good job, Mimic. Nope, 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 nope. We're gonna run this way. Might not have enough space. Ah! Okay, I survived it. Please. I got him. Oh. Okay. I did it. I did it. Finally. Finally. Oh my god. What a fight. Yay. Oh. Oh. Okay. Yay. I did it. I killed Radahn. I killed Radahn. Okay. Can I say the first thing that I thought? The first thing that came to mind was holy shit, his I know a lot of people think that Radahn, the Promised Consort, is probably the hardest boss in any From Software game. I don't think so. He's fucking hard. He's hard. However, I do have to say, however, I don't think he is the hardest in all of From Software. In Elden Ring, definitely. Definitely. Crazy moves. Crazy move set. You get heavily punished for mistiming a roll because he just keeps attacking and attacking and attacking and attacking and attacking and attacking. And then on the second phase, a lot of moves will just have the laser beams at the end. But I don't think he's the hardest. He's not the hardest I've dealt with. I think if I were to say the hardest one, last boss of Sekiro. The last boss of Sekiro. Way more complicated. A lot more like you have to be perfect the entire time. And the other thing So I don't think Radahn's moves are all that complicated. Like, second phase is just Radahn, but he does extra stuff. So dodge timing is a little, you just end up dodging more often and earlier, or you add a second dodge to the end of you dodge twice instead of once. But I do agree with Morph. If you can just stick to his ass, 90% of the stuff that you gotta dodge is just his swords. Because there's only like one or two like moves that he does where he puts the pillars of light around him or in an area that like is like directly like by in front of his like nose. So like you could dodge stuff pretty easily. Also, he kind of falls over to blocking from what I've seen. There's like a shield that you can slap on. Also, he's extremely weak to bleeds. Like very weak to bleeding no, he's weak to bleeding and extremely weak to frost. I straight up saw a build where like they put on like a frost spear and just kept throwing spears at him and he just fell over. He got turned into mush, like a pincushion. I don't think Radahn's that hard. It definitely took a while. I definitely was playing it a lot harder because I didn't have enough Skidoo fragments. But that could be said about every boss in this DLC. This DLC is designed like that. It is designed for you to go and find these Skidoo fragments, and then once you have the max stacks, you're all powered up in that. And I think they made it so that like max stacks I think is considered like, I don't know. I think having a boss be hard because you didn't pick up enough fragments, I think doesn't make for a difficult boss. That's just a stat check. I don't think stat checking is difficulty. That's just numbers. I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I don't think Radahn was hard, or like, or at least like I didn't think Radahn was all that complicated. For the most part, a lot of his moves are pretty straightforward. Like, swing my sword, 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 light, and then having now phase 2, swing a sword, light effect, swing a sword, swing sword, lights, swing sword, lights, swing sword, lights, swing lights, swing lights, swing lights, and then like the big flurry attack. Again, most of those attacks will miss if you get behind him, and then he ends up missing two of the attacks. He'll try to turn to hit you, and then you just keep getting behind him. And then he does the final big AoE, which I think hits twice. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But that last like explosion that he does, that hits. A lot of like the mistakes I was making were just like, oh, I mistimed that dodge, or oh, I mistimed that. There's very few times where I was just like, this feels unfair. And the only time I ever thought like, oh, this feels unfair is when I didn't have enough Skidoo fragments. And I think that's the point that I'm trying to get across is like, I don't think Radahn, the mechanics are that difficult. I think if a boss requires you to like, I don't know, if you can beat a boss with just by collecting a few additional rocks here and there, I don't know. I don't think that's all that difficult. That's why I say the final boss of Sekiro is way more difficult because he's got like this level of difficulty in his mechanics, and that require that you get heavily punished if you're not careful, and if you don't react fast enough to the right thing at the right time, you die. With very, very few times where you could actually like take a hit and survive with Sekiro. I think the final boss of Sekiro is way more difficult, way more complicated. Because here's the other thing too. In Elden Ring, you can just, most of the bosses, if like you're ever struggling with a boss, you can just fuck off, come back with more levels, a different build, and try it again. You can like adapt better. Sekiro, there is no adapting. There is absolutely no like build in Sekiro. You have your sword. That's it. You just got to change up your strategy and just play better. I don't know. I think Sekiro was definitely one of the hardest not Souls like, but like that, just Souls like in general. I think Sekiro is the hardest, and I think out of all the FromSoft games, Sekiro is definitely the most difficult out of the whole catalog. Not because of janky hitboxes, not because like Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1 had that problem where it's just like, oh, it's hard because there's jank and there's shit that doesn't make sense. Dark Souls 2 I've heard is the same problem. It's got like a lot of old janky shit that happens and you would just end up dying because it's like that shouldn't have hit me. And then you get upset once and then you learn. I don't know. It's why like when I'm playing Dark Souls, I don't get tilted at Souls games. Like I've never gotten tilted because like I don't know. You just gotta play better. You gotta learn. You gotta adapt. There's ways to go around things. There's ways like, especially in Elden Ring. My God, like there's a build for everything, and you can adapt. You can adapt your playstyle to fit whatever fucking boss that you're struggling with. It's like, oh, are you having a hard time with this boss? Just look up, just change, or like you don't even have to look it up. You can just change your build, see what works for you, what works for the boss. Because like, if I'm dying a lot and I'm like, oh man, I have a heavy weapon, I'm having a hard time landing hits. Maybe I should try a different weapon. And I feel like a lot of the time you find people like myself who are stubborn and will just, no, I can beat it with this weapon. And then, yeah. And then 8 hours later, you're still on the same boss, doing it all over and over and over and over again. However, I will say, even at level 17, I would still get him close. I still got him close multiple times. Well, with that being said, let's finish this game. Let's finish this game. This is farewell to Elden Ring.